one preacher's opinion. It was very good. He said, one of the definitions of success he gave was this: living the life God created you to live. That's success. If you live the life that God created you to live, not somebody else's life, not somebody else's status, but the way God created you, or the life that God created you. So what he's saying is, success is getting not just a guy or a girl that you want, not just the guy or the girl of your dreams. Success is getting the guy or the girl that God designed for you. So you may be rich, famous, you may be influential, but if that's not the life that God created us for, then that's not success at all. Okay, and we've seen a lot of, and I could understand that, because there's a lot of people who have gained that position and status in life, and yet somehow they feel very dissatisfied. Okay, and I don't know, was it C.S. Lewis or another person? They attributed it to very many different people, where we know the answer is God, because you've heard this saying before. Like, was it C.S. Lewis or was it Pascal? I forgot already, but he said, in each one of us is a God-shaped vacuum that nobody else could fill but God, right? So in each one of us, every person is a God-shaped vacuum that nobody else, no woman, no success, no career, no profession, no impact to the world, no achievement could fill except having God in your life. Okay? So now if you look at this, there's got to be a connection, because when you notice the appeal that Satan puts before us, the temptations, the lure, what are they? John actually mentioned that. We all know this. What is that? The world has these things: the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. So when you talk about relationships, when you talk about positions, when you talk about influence, you talk about those things, they fall in those three categories. So if you really look at those things, there's something greater and deeper than my desire to fulfilling my pleasure at the moment temporarily by sleeping with someone tonight and then sleeping with somebody else tomorrow and sleeping with somebody else the next day, or having the biggest house in the block, or having the most money in this bank branch. There's something deeper than those things. And what is that? People are looking for, why do they want money? Why do they want high fences? Why do they want all of these things in life? Why do they want a recognition from people? It's because that's the way they feel significance. That's the way they feel that they're worth something. And as I said, remember the example I gave you last time? What is that? When the world lists down the riches of the rich, what do they title it a lot of times? Net worth. The net worth of these people. And when they say net worth of these people, what do they measure it with? What is the unit that they look at? Dollars, money. Okay? That's why this person has the most net worth, because he's the richest person in the world today. But in reality, that's not what it is. That's what the world sees as, but for us, that's not it. Okay, God sees it very differently. We may be the poorest person. When I first got saved, I would have problems. I didn't even consider them problem, Brother Tom. Like that, when I got saved, I said with two things I really want to thank God for when I got saved, is because somebody introduced tithing to me.
Yes.
Very early. And when you first get saved, you know how passionate, if you really got saved anyway, you know how passionate you are to just doing everything that God says do. Like if he says jump, you say how high. It's like you just want to do everything that God tells you to do. So when I was taught that in the early days of my Christianity, I never struggled with that at all. Never struggled. And then the fact that I learned that God will provide all my needs, even when I was teaching a Bible study, because I was still in the Bible school. Somebody was sponsoring me to go to the Bible school, so I wasn't working. So somebody was paying for it. That's covered. But then I got invited to teach a Bible study regularly. And the sponsorship does not cover my traveling allowance. Like, so you have to ride 2, 3 like jeepney and a bus and all of that. But I've never, in many cases, I would say not many, but there are cases when I didn't have fare.
Yeah.
But I need to be in a Bible study area, in a Bible study place. And I would ride a Jeep not having fare. And 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 I've never worried about it. And I also did not intend to steal to cheat.
Yeah.
I did not intend to go down that jeepney without paying for it. Okay, so but I never ever worried whether it was going to be paid or not. And lo and behold, every time God creates a situation and scenario where somebody pays for me, either somebody else I know from the very, very long past, just I still pretend I was going to pay it. I still pretended I was going to pay for the guy. I said, no, I'll cover for this. I'll pay. Like you don't want to appear that you didn't have anything. But that was the case. And then after the Bible study, that was the first time I've actually heard about love gift. The very first time I heard about love gift was like I was gonna go home. I didn't have fare. Just remember, I didn't have fare, and I went to the Bible study place. Somebody paid for me. Now I was gonna go home, right? But somebody, the owner of the house, actually gave me something, and then he said, "Oh, just a love gift, brother." Love gift? What is a love gift? Love gift. So that was my introduction to love gift. But what I'm saying is, God covers for us. That's the reason why I may be a person with no money in the pocket because my pocket has holes. Now, I was that needy during that time, quote unquote. But there's peace in your heart, knowing that whatever you need will be provided for.
Hallelujah.
That's significance. That's worth. If I needed $2 billion that time, I did not have to worry. You know why? Because you have that peace in your heart. Okay, you have that peace in your heart that's going to be provided for. I was worth something to God, no matter whether I did not have a penny or I had thousands in the bank. Okay? My testimony is more on the I didn't have a penny rather than having thousands in the bank. Right? But I never felt like I was nobody. I never felt I was nobody. And that's something that just developed inside of us when we get saved. It doesn't matter who I talk to, whether you're a very wealthy person or we've had Bible studies and met people who owned, like, for example, who owned a shopping center, like not a store, but he owned a shopping center. But there was no intimidation in us at all. Why? Again, because we're all just children of God fellowshipping together.
Yeah.
Okay, that's significance. And if you notice that again, I said, lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. What it is trying to lure us into are things that are symptoms of lack of worth and significance. And God is saying that's not what you need. That's not what you need. What you need is that sense that in Christ, you're worth something and you are significant. That means to say you have something to do in this world. You have something to accomplish in this world. I created you for a purpose. We're not accidents. Once we realize that we're not accidents, you have a purpose why I created you, right away you find your significance. And when you know that there's a reason why God created you anyway, to live out the life that He wants you to live, then that's the worth that you have. Okay? Right. So we're going to talk more about that later on. But let's look at the verses that I want us to read. Okay, Luke chapter 15, 1 through 7. Let's all go there. Luke 15, 1 through 7. Anybody who finds it, please read it to us. I actually encourage everybody to start using King James or NIV, but whatever translation you have right now, that's fine. Luke 15. That's actually the entire chapter, but we're just going to focus on this first one. Luke 15, 1 through 7. Yes, go ahead. What version? Okay.
The parable of the lost sheep. Now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." And Jesus told them this parable. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls his friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost sheep." I tell you that in the same way, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent.
Okay, so if you can you read, I want everybody, because you're all familiar with the story, right? The parable of the lost sheep.
Yes.
Now, and then God, Jesus, in his amazing wisdom and ways, actually shared three parables. But I don't know if anybody noticed that the parables he shared was in response to people's concern about what he was doing. Those three parables were his response to people's questions. Okay? Can you read to us again that question? Everybody listen to this, because this is why Jesus was going to share the parable. Okay? What was the situation? And I want to, Aubrey, would you please read 1 and 2 again?
So the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus. But the Pharisees and teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them."
Okay, so Jesus was eating with publicans and sinners. Sinners general, publicans, tax collectors, like the IRS of our day.
Right.
Right? Okay, so during the time of Jesus, IRS agents were considered really sinful people. That's why they put them together, publicans and sinners, right? And then he said, and the Pharisees and scribes murmured, saying, "This man receives sinners and eats with them." What were they trying to look? They use so many ways. There's so many ways you can look at this, but one thing that you could see here is how they were looking down upon this group of people. So Jesus had to respond this way. So in their society, in their perception, they're low, the lowly of the lows in our society. So these people are not worth anything. Okay, that's the way you look at it. Now Jesus responds. Now, the first thing I'd like us to look at in your outlines, there's a pillar, is this: reasons for feeling worthless and insignificant, or reasons for feeling worthless and insignificant. Okay, so again, three parables. We see that there's a sheep that got lost in the field. We see a coin that got lost somewhere. The owner couldn't see it, and then the son that left the house and he was lost in his ways as well. So three reasons that we can see. I think there's got to be a lot more, but we're going to settle with this parable. It's deep, it's substantial. It actually is full of meat already. You're just looking at this. Okay, so the first one is lack of security. Lack of security. Three reasons for feeling worthless and insignificant. So feeling worthless, insignificant, lack of security. Okay, so when the sheep, for example, imagine yourself being lost, like a sheep that got away from the rest of the flock. When people stray from their shepherd, you're lost, you're wandering around, you're in danger, you may fall off the cliff, you may fall off the river, so it creates a feeling of insecurity.
Right.
And this is something that is, by the way, there's something a lot more important when it comes to women. Because I don't know if you remember, I shared to you before, like what in many of the studies and statistics, they said the number one need of a woman, it was, of course, there's a counterpart for the man. The number one need of a woman, they always, in statistics, these are the things that come out. Okay? Affection / love, right? And also security. Love / affection and security. And the security is not only in the area of affection and love, that security is in the area of finances, provision. I've got something to live for tomorrow, to live with tomorrow. Isn't it any wonder? And it is very true with people. Like, for example, there's a famous boxer, for example. Why is it that the boxer may be the ugliest person in the world? And if he courts somebody who's a supermodel, a super beautiful actress, she says yes right away.
Oh.
Yeah. Why is it? What is it? He's got the money. She's in love with his car. Not him, but his car, his bank account. So it's because, why is it? It's because it answers the need for security.
Right.
All right? So this is very true with all of us. Now, there's something I'd like us to look at that I want us to like really dig deep into, because there are so many people, especially here in this country, I never, like somehow when I was growing up, even as a new believer, we back home in a developing country, these were not talks at the time. Like insecurity? What's insecurity? Worth? What's that? Significance? What's that? Like we barely talk to, I don't know about high circles of society, I don't know, but when we were studying the Bible, when we were doing Bible studies, these are not topics of discussion.
It's all about surviving.
It's all about Bible, revival.
The survival.
Yeah, that's it. Because I think we know how to survive. Like, we know what to do, you know. Like it's, I don't know. Like, but that was, I would say it was not a major thing, but I realized America, the last I heard, we consume 90% of the antidepressant created in the entire world.
Wow.
90%
So
of antidepressants are consumed in the United States, the most prosperous country in the world, supposedly. Why is that? Okay, so one of the things I'm going to go back to is in connection. Did you see the parable? It's a shepherd that is lost. So I love when I look at this, I connect it to something that is so beautiful, and it's something that you all know. It's a song that you all know. Psalm 23. Psalm 23. Now listen, how many of you know this song? Okay, can you recite it, Ryan?
Not really.
Okay, who can recite Psalm 23?
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures.
He leads me beside still waters.
He restores my soul. He guides me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies.
Thou anointest
My head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Listen, we've recited that song. You know that song. You sang that song. But do you realize how deep that song is? It's so deep that if you actually get to understand even the surface of that, you are not going to be insecure. Because you have that strong assurance that you're not a wandering sheep. You are with a shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. And so I'd like to make an experiment. And that experiment, I like to do some. What time is it? Okay, we're just gonna cover whatever we cover, and then we'll continue next week. It's gonna be a good exercise. Okay? Who wants to volunteer?
That's 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks.
Who wants to volunteer? I need 6 people to raise their hand. 6 people. You don't know. 1, 2.
Which one? What am I
Just 6 people to volunteer about something. I'm gonna try to do something.
What's the question again?
Sounds like entrapment.
1, 2.
I don't know. This is very.
Go on.
What's the question again?
Wait,
So 1, 2. Well, Ryan, 3. 3 more.
You've been voluntold.
Okay, we'll start with the 3. We'll start with the 3. Well, only 3 more. What I want you to do
J-Boy's one.
is to look. Number 4, J-Bo?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, J-Boy,
Okay.
yes. Wow, voluntold.
So, Ada 1,
Voluntold.
Feb is 2, Ryan is 3, J-Bo is 4,
They're gonna chop our heads off. Mark is 5.
Mark's 5, then Cookie 6. Okay, then we go. And then we go. They're gonna be so beautiful. They're gonna be so beautiful.
I'm good too.
They're gonna be so beautiful. Okay, because once you see Psalm 23 in its beauty, it is that this will encourage everybody to like live a life where you're not nervous, you know, okay? And to keep that relationship with a shepherd. Okay, so the Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want, I shall not be in want. Right? That's number 1. So every verse. What I want you to do is this: reverse the verse. Pretend that you are a wandering sheep. Let's say, for example,
The Lord is not my shepherd.
the Lord is not my shepherd. I will be. Okay, so you see the importance of this psalm of God being the shepherd. So what I want you to do is look at that way. What happens if the Lord is not my shepherd? Then I shall be in one. And when you and others, so each one of you are assigned. If you could think of a story, either yours or somebody else's that you know that relates to what you have, then share that. It doesn't have to be a whole preaching. It's like it doesn't have to be a whole preaching. Just share that. Brother Tom.
Wait, Pastor, when we have to come up with something that's the opposite of this verse?
Yeah, we got with number
Are you
eight.
gonna assign us the which
So I have,
verse?
he refreshes my soul, you guys can bump the right path for his name's sake, so just something that.
You restores my soul. So now you're gonna come up with, you're gonna come number 4, you're basically said, because the Lord's not my shepherd, my soul's not gonna be restored. Okay, and there's another one there, right?
Okay, I got it.
Okay, so that you.
I was just saying, the fact that if we read it in Spanish,
Yeah.
that part, I shall not want, it's nada me faltará.
Yeah.
And in Spanish, it is, I shall never be without.
Oh, there you go. You'll never be without. Never be without.
Yeah.
Okay, did you understand that?
It's a deeper meaning.
Yes. Okay. So did you understand that? Did you understand that? It's very simple. It's very, guys, it's very superficial. For others, because the Lord is not my shepherd, I will be in that. Okay, so I cannot expect to be provided for. I'll be hungry. Like, I'll be forced dieting or something like that. So and then share a story of how probably before you became a believer, before God became your son, or when you strayed away, like how things got messed up.
So
in
this
that
is
area.
homework now, because we only have 2 minutes left.
No more. Next week now.
Wait, so
Next week.
Ada will share a story
Right?
of.
Or next-
of,
yeah,
like,
next
being in
week.
want.
Huh?
So she'll share a story of like being in want.
Yes.
Okay.
You share a story about when you, for example, you wandered away and
Yeah,
my soul's like really parched. And,
yeah, torment, yeah.
This is good. We're gonna be good.
Awesome, let's all stand. Amen. Fine. Thank you all for being here. For those who made it early, and she made watermelon food.
By the way, testimony.